They say that music soothes the savage beast, and that music was just, that jazz was all we needed. But I got the real thing here right now. I'd like to introduce you to the bassist extraordinaire, jazz bassist, Mr. Ralph Armstrong, internationally known but homegrown.
Thank you, darling. Are you referring to me as a savage beast?
No, I've talked. That's something I heard all my life. You could be whatever, and then you listen to some good music, and it calms you down.
Yes, it does. And I'm blessed to say that I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I've traveled all over God's earth.
I know.
Every
Well,
nook and cranny, just
we'll
about.
get into that in just a minute. And we saw a bit of your genius, and I saw Racy Biggs up there too.
Yes, my dear friend. Yeah, we grew up together. We lived around the corner from each other.
Really?
Yes. You know, Detroit was a melting pot of races and cultures, and we were just blessed to have good parents. You know, we had the dinner on the table at 6 o'clock. No, actually 5 o'clock, you know. We were just blessed, and I grew up down, as a matter of fact, across the street from Johnny Trudell,
Really?
the great jazz trumpeter and
Right.
musical contractor. Yeah.
Right. Where was that?
Belvedere and Forest.
East Side.
Right, near Pingree Park over there.
Uh huh.
And that's where I grew up at. What a wonderful childhood.
Where'd you go
had.
to elementary school?
Ooh, I went to Hilger and Pingree. And Joy. They would move us around.
Gee.
Joy,
They-
yeah.
And then middle school.
I went to Barbara Junior High, and what a great school that was. That was just like going to high school back then.
I know. And then you went to Cass Tech.
Right.
Northwestern for a minute, but Cass,
Cass
Tech.
Tech, yes, in the morning. I had sectionals at 7 o'clock in the morning.
See, you learned discipline early.
We had teachers that instilled discipline in us.
Right.
Because let me tell you something, it was different back then. If you didn't do right, you might get hit in the head with a chair by Mr. Alfred Hickman at Barbara. They didn't play.
I
And
know.
my teacher at Cass, his name was Emmanuel Cortez, and he was from Budapest, Hungary. And he would cuss us out in Hungarian. You know nothing about this instrument. What are you doing? You have to pay attention to what I'm saying. You have to have feeling and soul and play with the tips of your fingers.
Gee.
Oh yeah, he was more of a character than I am actually.
Well, I was a drama teacher, so sometimes I'd have to throw my keys, but you have to build this discipline because you have to get them ready for the real world out there. And in order to stand above, a lot of people have talent, but to be able to be there on time, to be able to do what you're supposed to do, that's another piece that helps you with your success, don't
Exactly.
you? Don't
yes.
you think?
Yes, it's very important.
Very, very important.
indeed.
So after high school, and you said that high school at Cass, let's reflect on Detroit Public Schools a minute. Detroit Public Schools had some of the best education you could get around anywhere.
Well, it was the best in the whole United States, I would think, in the world, because they taught us discipline, and also we had teachers that instilled family values if you didn't have a family.
Right.
They didn't play. You had to come in there, yes, sir, no, sir, and if you didn't do your work, you were in trouble. It's a funny thing. I have been blessed to come from a musical family. My father was a great violinist. His name was Louis Bluey, Howard Armstrong.
Louis Bluey.
Yes, he played the violin. There's movies out about my dad. You know, he
Really?
wasn't. Yeah, my father won the National Heritage Award from the United States government. You know, so we went to Washington and I met Charles Corral. You know,
Yes.
this was back. I can tell you exact year it was. It was 1989. He won that. You know, and we went to Washington. But I had a father who was teaching us things about life, how to fix things. We got a generation full of dummies.
Oh,
And I'm making a difference. You see this hat? Thanks to the Detroit Jazz Foundation, I am teaching at Cass.
are you?
Yeah. And them kids, they want to learn it like little sponges. And they're so cool. Mr. OG, Mr. Armstrong. Hi, Mr. Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong. I had a young guy we got on the drums, little old Isaiah, and I got a guy named Kendall on the bass. And they're so talented. These little kids, I call them little, they ain't really that little, but they can play 3 and 4 instruments, and they
Yes.
want to learn. And you know what I'm teaching them? I'm giving them the same type of education I had to learn. If you want to learn something, be an intellectual at it.
Right.
Learn everything it is. If it's about cameras, learn who invented the camera. Learn its
Absolutely.
physics, its science of construction. You know, you have to be intellectual to be successful in anything you do. Learn everything you,
really
can about
do. You really do. You don't learn just being, the actor shouldn't just learn to be on stage. They need to know everything that's happening backstage.
Exactly.
Everything.
It's paramount to what you want to do in life. That's very important. And I've been blessed to say that I've had teachers who cared enough. Even some of the teachers that they said were evil, they found out that I wanted to learn, they were nice to me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like Jack Shelby. I was scared to death to go to Jack Shelby at Cass. Oh, they call him Shickle Groover. I was like, oh Lord, what am I getting into? You know, and found out that he liked me because I played all the basses. Back then when we went to school, if you played the bass violin, you had to play tuba.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you had to play, and the cello. You had to play all of the basses.
So you represent Detroit wherever you go.
You better believe it.
And so much talent is homegrown out of here. Who was telling me, I think it was Joe Harris was telling me that Al Green is from Michigan.
The
Yes.
R&B singer? I never knew that. I know he
He-
used to date a lot of Michigan women.
Yeah, he's from Michigan, not Detroit, but he's from Michigan. But he went down south to start getting some play.
Well, I never knew that about
I mean,
the man.
Michigan
Wow.
has grown so much talent,
Mhm.
and the thing that hurts right now is everybody can't be with a Ralph Armstrong to get lessons or Cass Tech. I mean, and so many programs have been cut. The performance programs.
I think this is a travesty because politicians, we put these imbeciles in, excuse my French, I didn't mean to insult all politicians, but they have to understand that we are Americans. And everybody, I don't care what color you are, what your religious beliefs are, every American needs to have a good education because we have to look at ourselves as a whole. In Japan, I've been to Japan many times, they have great educational systems. And this is why we have crime in our society, because you have people who are not educated.
Right.
You know, they think a dinner is the dollar store. They're not taught better.
Right. There are a lot of people who are not educated and then don't get the impetus to want to be educated.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I'm not trying to diss anybody.
Right.
But it's incumbent upon the parents. If you have one parent at home, two parents, or an auntie living with an auntie, that they encourage you to do that.
Exactly. That's right. And I had a strong mother. You know, she came from a family. Well, some of her brothers were pugs, as they say. Pugs are boxers. And my brother, I never will forget, thought, I'm 19, I'm grown. She said, what you say? I'm grown. She said, come down this basement. It was like one of them Popeye cartoons. Pow, boom, bing. He was like Batman. Ah! He ran out of there. But can I say something real
Yes,
quick?
please.
I just want to say what happened to me in my life. At the age of 16, and this is a true story, it's all documented. I'll be quick. I know we're on TV and I
No,
talk a lot.
you got
Okay.
time.
I was blessed. I went by Michael Henderson's house one day, who's a great bass player who's played with Miles Davis, Stevie Wonder, all the Motown acts. And he let me play. I had just come from Cass with my bass fiddle on the bus. So I played over the phone from this guy in Canaan, Connecticut. And his name was Michael Narada Walden, who is one of the top record producers in the world today. My dear friend. Actually, he's my best friend. So they sent me an airplane ticket. Now I get up to Canaan, Connecticut. That's actually my first airplane flight. Oh my God! I was on. They called it Allegheny Airlines. The
Oh, I
nickname,
remember that.
hold it. The nickname we call it was Agony Airlines. So I got to Connecticut, and Narada was getting into this Hindu religion called Sri Chinmoy. So was the great John McLaughlin, English guitar player who played with Miles Davis and Tony Williams. So he came up and heard me play. And I had a fretless Fender bass at the time, which the great James Jamerson of Motown,
Oh yes, he just had a birthday too.
yeah, introduced me to this instrument. And he went berserk over me playing with no lines, no frets on the bass. So he says, I'm going to call you to play with me. And I say, yeah, right. He ain't going to call this big old black kid from Detroit, you know. So I was like, no, he ain't calling me. So about, I would say 6 months later, I can remember the day, it was a February day. The weather, it was snowing a little bit. And I was at my mom and dad's house, and I got this phone call. And it was John McLaughlin on the phone.
Wow,
And he says, Ralph, I want you to speak to somebody. And guess who was on the phone?
oh,
Carlos Santana.
you're kidding.
I needed the pins. I was like Don Nasa, Carlos Santana. So the next thing, guess what? I got a ticket 2 weeks later to go to New York and rehearse. And after that, we
How
rehearsed.
old were you?
I had just turned 17.
Jeez.
And guess what? I was in New York rehearsing for CBS Records. And I went to London to record with George Martin of the Beatles at Air Studios on Oxford Street. And when they picked us up, back then the companies had money. It was like 4 Rolls Royces, 5 Daimler, big Jaguars. It looked like Rolls with the hump back, and they had drivers. Here you go, chap. Here you go, Mr. Armstrong. I couldn't believe it, you know. But what a blessing that is. But all of that came from being educated in the school system we had in Detroit, Michigan, and going to Interlochen as a kid.
Yes, and I mean your exposure was just tremendous.
Yes, indeed.
Well, how did you feel when you came back and had to go to school? I mean, just say,
Huh?
You had to,
Shoot, I had to get out of school. I was making $35,000. I paid my mother's house off at 17.
oh my goodness. Oh,
Now, $35,000 back in 1974 was like the equivalent to over 100,000. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of blessings,
yeah.
and God is still looking out for me. I don't know why, but He liked His big head.
Oh no! I mean, the world needs you.
You
It
know, I've been
needs your
blessed.
talent.
Yeah.
If you can think of a particular occasion, which was your first real, I'm really here. Well, that story for one. But can you relate another story of a time that you never thought you'd be here, that you had to pinch yourself?
I tell you what was the highlight of my life, pretty much. Not highlight, but it was a special thing to me, was when, and something else too. This, I brought it. But when Miles Davis called me to play bass for him.
He called you?
Yes. He said, Fat boy, I want you to play bass with me, 'cause I saw you. He came to Avery Fisher, New York, and heard me, and I was with John McLaughlin. We were touring with Herbie Hancock back then. And Miles called me and said, I want you to play something different and listen to some little kids. Find some kids and go see what they doing and learn what they doing. And we gonna play it and play something here.
Wow, fabulous. We have a phone call. We have Lady
Okay.
T on the line. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you.
I just want to let you know that Ralph Armstrong has a CD out. I guess you mentioned that already, and I purchased one
Here it
from him
is.
last night. He plays the bass for me, and I've had several opportunities for him to back up when I have had opportunities to sing. And I didn't hear you mention that he's at Burt's Marketplace every Thursday. And they have a fantastic evening of jazz down there. So I just want to thank Ralph Armstrong for playing for me when I sing down at Burt's. And others need to come down and have that experience as well.
Wow.
Thank you, honey. And thank you for coming to Burt's. I play at Burt's when I'm in town.
That's
I've been
right.
in Los
Every
Angeles
Thursday
for
evening
2
starts
weeks.
at 8:30. And I go down there often because I really enjoy the music that they provide in this community, and they're keeping jazz alive around here. I mean, real jazz, not a
Right.
program that says this is smooth jazz and then they play some, I don't know, country western song. I mean, it's really a wonderful evening. And a lot of times I'll go down and we'll have dinner before the music begins. But it's really a nice evening, and Bert Deering is providing wonderful entertainment here in the city of Detroit.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, darling. You take care
You're
now.
welcome, Ralph.
Many blessings, darling. And you know what? I've been knowing Bert. It's a funny thing. Bert Deering was a friend of my father's. He was the first man beside him and my brother Tommy, my half brother from Chicago. And they were first guys I ever saw that wore a tam. I said, Daddy, who is that man? And my father would paint signs for Bert. You know, my dad was an artist too. He did signs, and he spoke 14 different languages.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was something else. You know what? The thing was great about my father. He would go to like Hamtramck, and they had a sign for Polish speaking painter, and he would go in there and say Dziękuję, and it's oh, you speak a Polish, you come in, you paint, you black men speak Polish. You know, he was something else. He was really something. And okay, back to Miles. And that was just like the highlight of my life. But I got to show you something else recently that's a highlight. Is this.
This is great. Tell the audience what that's Ralph in his Detroit Tiger colors, like with his bass. Well, is that
Let me explain it
Yeah,
to you.
explain.
Let me explain it. This is an ad in Bass Player magazine, which is a national magazine that goes to 130 countries. H.P. Wilfer of Warwick Bass in Germany put on this Detroit Jazz. This is the first time Detroit jazz musicians have been recognized globally by any entity in our long history of this city.
Oh,
National, globally, not nationally. Detroit Jazz, and I'm so proud to say that I'm a part of that. It ain't about my head, it says Detroit Jazz.
I know, and it was so great that you found this. Where was this set?
This was taken in the Eastern Market.
Wow, that's just beautiful, and the fact that you have Detroit right there and jazz right.
Right, and people see this all over the world. And what I've been doing is working with the jazz festival and the people in our community to show that we've got a lot to offer in this community, in this city. We have the best musicians in the world here,
Yeah,
the best.
We do.
But now we're getting recognized globally, which I'm proud of saying that I'm a part of this.
You're a big part of this in your CD. Let's talk about your CD.
Yeah, and it's nominated for a Grammy. See that big head on there? There's the other head too.
This year?
Yes, this year I'm going to the Grammys. I'm gonna wear. I told Aretha I'm gonna have on a yellow tuxedo with a pink bow tie, so everybody can see me. There he is.
Oh no, don't do that. Don't do that.
You were at Aretha's party, weren't you?
Not this year.
Oh, you didn't? I thought I saw you there. It was a woman looked like you. I was talking to her too. I'm just joking.
Well, Ralph, this is just beautiful. Some of the are these original songs?
There's one original that's dedicated on here. It's dedicated to Miles Davis. It's called "Miles, We Gotta Go." And the last time I saw Miles alive, he said, "Ralph, fat boy, I gotta go. I gotta go." I said, "Where you going, Miles? Don't leave." "Oh no." And then he left.
You know, he was hilarious in a way.
He
No,
was.
I have his book. I have his autobiography.
I do too. I read
It is funny, especially
It is true.
when he was talking about Cecily Tyson and how she, you know, we won't
Yeah,
talk
we
about-
can't talk on the air
we're
about
talking
that.
about that. But I laughed so hard. He was so real. He didn't have a filter.
Mm-hmm.
There was no filter there. But how did it feel playing with him?
Miles, I learned a lot. It was the worst thing that happened in my life because we were going on tour to Europe. And Miles went to go get some beer and broke his hip in that yellow Ferrari. And he stayed out of music for almost 10 years. And I was devastated. So at the time I was going to New York to play with Frank Zappa.
Oh, really?
And this is a true story. And this is really strange.
Moon
It's,
Zappa's daddy.
yeah. Oh, I knew that boy. Moon. I mean Moon when she was a baby. Dweezil. I talked to Dweezil last year. I saw him over at North Sea. But this is so weird. I'm on the airplane. I'm upset now. I get on the airplane because we stop in Chicago. Guess who was on the airplane sitting next to me?
Who?
Herbie Hancock.
Oh, my.
And Herbie says to me, "Yeah, Ralph, man, I'm going to see Miles. I'm going to see Miles. Hey, man, give him a love, man." And I was upset. He said, "Man, I know you're going to play. Come on, play with me." I said, "What?" So dig this. I'm in the Headhunters. Herbie called me to play. Next thing I know, I'm in Beverly Hills rehearsing with another Detroiter. I just saw him in Los Angeles at the NAMM show. Benny Maupin and another Detroiter, Bill Summers, who played the percussions with. We were in the Headhunters. And actually another, we can call him a Detroiter. His name is Melvin Reagan, Wah Watson. We were all in the Headhunters.
Wow.
Yeah. I went
I
on
mean-
tour, yeah. I went on tour with them. And then after that, I went with Jean-Luc Ponty.
Did you?
Yes, I stayed with Jean-Luc Ponty, 7 years.
My goodness.
What a blessing. Isn't that wonderful?
So what's on tap for you? We have a
Well,
couple
you know
minutes.
what? Okay, what's on tap for me now? I'm working on another CD, and also I've got a friend of mine coming from England in April. His name is Guy Pratt. He plays with Pink Floyd, the rock group.
Right.
We're going to do a tribute to Detroit, and I'm also working on a internet project for the city to show what's positive about the musicians here. You know, we just want to show the world globally what we have that's positive. There's so much culture, it's diversity here. A lot of-
Culturally rich.
Right,
It's rich.
exactly.
It's rich.
You
It's
know,
rich.
if you could see, and I'm
This
blessed. That's
card.
from NAMM. You know, I just
Now,
did the
what
NAMM
is
show.
what does NAMM stand for?
I think I'm not positive, but I believe it's National American Music Merchants.
Oh wow! Well, we gotta get ready to wrap this up. Ralph Armstrong, you have to come back.
I
we'll
will, and
make
I didn't know we were live. I want to see myself on TV.
Well, we are live, and we will get it, and we'll put it on YouTube.
Oh, thank you. You know what? You are so sweet, and she's lovely, ladies and gentlemen, and she smells good. What I say?
You shut my mouth wide open. As they
I'm
used to say,
I'm
well,
saying you look good. You're
thank
just so
you, thank
bubbly
you,
and
thank you,
charming.
Thank you
and
so
just
much.
a true lady.
Oh goodness!
I have to
don't
do
know.
that.
Everybody will be back in just a few moments with Table Talk with Brenda Perryman. Ralph Armstrong, you'll be at the Dirty Dog when?
I think we're gonna be back in May. I'm gonna be there in May with Frida Payne.
Oh goodness!
Frida
I gotta
Payne.
buy my tickets now. All right.
Yeah, you better. They sell like hotcakes.
Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes with Table Talk with Brenda Perryman. Lot to discuss.